Arranging practices. We will conduct a first-come, first-serve email request to the league on the date of January 28th. January 28th is a Saturday, beginning at 6 a.m. So let's say, I need my practice space, just like we were talking about earlier. Well, at 6 a.m. on January 28th, you send in your request. Not at 5:55, not at 5:59, at 6 a.m. If the time scale doesn't read 6 a.m. on January 28th, it's not going to be read. It's just like the rules of Yosemite and national parks and all these campgrounds that we all like to frequent, whether it's trailer camping or backpacking or whatever. We have to have some semblance of organization. And I think we do a great job of that. And this is why, because we hold you accountable to these deadlines and to these situations. Is it tough for a volunteer? Of course it is. But that's why this league is so good and why it's been so good for 14 years, which now we have been in business for. So, arranging practices. What do? At 6 a.m. on the 28th, I send in my practice request, okay? This doesn't mean Friday the 27th, all right? So remember what I just said about that, all right? Please be aware. Teams will be granted practice space based on priority of A, the amount of teams a coach coaches. So if I have a coach that coaches 2 teams or a coach that coaches 3 teams, the guy that's got 3 teams gets first priority. The guy that's got 2 gets second priority. The guy that's got 1 gets third priority, okay? Because they've got more responsibility. B, time of submission of request. So let's say I got 4 coaches that submit requests at 6 a.m. on the 28th of January, which is Saturday. One's got 3 teams, one's got 2, one's got 1, and he gets in at 6:01, and another one's got 1, he gets in at 6:02. Well, we'll go in the order of the team that has the coach that has the most teams. That doesn't mean, Mr. Coach that has the most teams, that you wait 3 days to submit your request. I would be very careful about that. Because if we detect that there's some form of, well, I don't care, I get an automatic, choice, then, that's going to affect the way we handle that situation. It doesn't mean you're not going to get something close to what you want. It just means it's not fair to the other guys. They got to get up at 5:55 in the morning and send an email. All right. C, age groups. That means kinder through 1-2 must have early times. So just remember that if you're in kinder 1 or 1-2, those kids get the earliest time slots. They have to. We can't have them out there practicing at 7 and 8 o'clock at night. And then D, seniority in the league. If you've been coaching in this league for seasons upon seasons, you have seniority. I mean, by all means, let's not pretend that we're not something that we are, or that we're something that we're not. There's politics involved in everything. However, this is probably the least political of all. But yeah, I mean, if I have a guy calling me and say, hey, look, Mike, I can only do, this time and that time, and he submits his request on time and it's on the date. He only coaches 1 team. I'm not going to ignore that individual. Specifically, he's been coaching for 5 or 6 or 7 years, okay? So we have to be intelligent about how we do things. Simultaneously, we have to make you guys jump through certain hoops as well. And we apologize for that, but this is how you have to run a league. You want a great league to play in? Well, it takes great organization and compliance and cooperation.